This is Money, Motivation, and Mike, and I'm your host, Michael Wainwright, in charge of the mothership and audio engineer and video engineer, Jason Wright. And hello to you, world. This is the show that will change your life. You can contact us at info@mx3.vip, and find all of our content at mx3.vip or on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/@mx3podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified of all of our new content, which Jason puts out every Monday morning around 9 o'clock. And what a better way to start today's episode, Jason, than just talking about ourselves. Over this last week, folks, we have been given some milestones by some of our directories, such as BuzzPost. BuzzPost has congratulated us, MX3.VIP, who has now passed, we have now passed 250,000 podcast downloads. Incredible. Maybe we can put that on the website, Jason,
Sure.
to show the world what we're doing. Another big milestone. You have a lot of people who go to YouTube and watch videos and listen to music or whatever. They go there and they do this, but they don't subscribe. That's why we talk about to go there and like and subscribe and hit the bell icon. So subscribers are a big deal because that means they have subscribed to your channel, and they will get notified and they will be in tune with your show on, in our case, a weekly timeline. So this past week, as of today, February the 9th, Money, Motivation, and Mike, MX3.VIP has went over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We are actually at 1,077 subscribers as we speak right here on the air today, and obviously view as well. Thank you once again. We always try to applaud you, our viewing and listening audience, and you continue to wow us with your very, very much appreciated interest in our show. So once again, thank you very much. Now, interesting stuff this week, Jason, with McDonald's. McDonald's been the headlines. Everyone's favorite fast food restaurant, everyone's favorite restaurant in the world for that matter, has been in the headlines. But before we go to that, I saw some things that I want to touch on here that came out this last week as well. As a matter of fact, it came out yesterday. And it reads, and this is from CNN, "The world just marked a year above a critical climate limit scientists have warned about for quite some time." Global warming. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you and very frank. I do not spend any time on global warming. Maybe I should. Maybe we should get us an expert on here to talk about this stuff. I just really haven't paid a whole lot of attention. And I think a lot of that is we being based and living here in the South and in Texas. And it's always, for the most part, we spend a lot of time in 100-degree heat. So we really don't see where it's hotter tomorrow than it is today. Hotter than it was last January, last November, 2015, whatever the case may be. Maybe we just don't see the warming quite like other people do in other parts of the country. But global warming surpassed 1.5 degrees Celsius over the past 12 months for the first time on record. And this breaks the latest time that we had not 1.5, but somewhere close, which was in 2016. So the exact number over the past year is 1.52 degrees hotter on average than temperatures of any time of record in the history of keeping degrees and temperatures, and in this particular case, Celsius. So for those of you who are global warming experts and knowledge, obviously you're already over this. What we have started becoming, I don't want to say so hot, but the degree of the temperature has continued to rise, that the experts are now saying that if we can keep it below 2 degrees, but preferably around 1.5 degrees with a center point goal. That this goes back to the Paris Agreement, which most nations signed back in 2015, and that's the numbers that we were looking at then. But we just reached the highest ever at 1.52 for a 12-month period, which doesn't seem like much, but it's astonishing. And I've often thought about the places where it's the coldest, where ice really never melts. Is that an effect? You know, the icebergs, are they being touched? Nevertheless, heat records on land and sea have tumbled over the past year. The 8 months in a row, the last 8 months in a row, have been the hottest months on record, while 23 was the hottest calendar of record, as I just said. The average global sea surface temperature for January was also the hottest on record for that month by a margin of, it's 0.26, so we'll just call it a quarter of a degree warmer than the previous high, which was also 2016 for our sea surface. 2024 has started with another record-breaking month. It is the warmest January on record as far back, and I don't know how far back temperature records go, but January was the hottest January of record in the history of us keeping our degrees, temperatures, Celsius records. The climate crisis is driven primarily from humans burning coal, oil, and gas for energy. El Nino, a natural climate pattern that originates in the Pacific Ocean, has also boosted temperatures in much of the world in recent months. So I thought that was interesting that we have had the hottest period of time in the history of our world, and that's worth taking note of. 1.5 degrees doesn't seem like much, but what if it's 1.5 degrees next January and another 1.5 degrees? Well, let's just say it's 1 degrees, and over the next 10 years, we become 10 degrees hotter than we were before. A lot of things factor into that, and a lot of things definitely can change how our world has arrived. So, McDonald's, as we all know, those golden arches are as big of identifier in this world as a red stop sign is at the corner block. So, Jason, let's run a video here. I believe it's Good Morning America. And then I'm going to get into what now has become an $18 Big Mac meal. Let's roll it.
A Big Mac may soon cost a little less. McDonald's CEO is promising more affordability during an earnings call with analysts yesterday. The restaurant giant has faced criticism recently over higher prices at some locations, including an Egg McMuffin costing more than $7, a $16 fish fillet, and a Big Mac combo nearly priced at $18. Higher prices and slumping global sales have sent McDonald's stocks tumbling. To turn things around, McDonald's is expected to offer more discounts on its mobile app. And for now, the company is hoping to bring back customers with their popular Shamrock Shakes. They're available now far earlier than in past years. I always thought that was a March thing, but they're thinking that's going to turn it around.
$16.
Can you imagine?
Okay, that was Good Morning America. A good little clip there. Now, are you familiar with this mobile app, Jason? And the mobile rewards and all this?
Oh, yeah.
I have had this brought to my attention from the younger generation. And yes, you can go in and buy yourself, I don't know the number, let's say 5 of these $18 Big Mac meals over the course of time. And then you will eventually get you a free drink. I guess a free drink is big. I don't know. Maybe it's $2.50 now. But I also have seen where, the McDonald's has the dollar menu meal. But the dollar menu meal no longer has anything that's $1.
That's $1, $2, $3.
That's like going to the dollar store. So I don't want to start getting into the dollar store, but I have went into a dollar store and everything that I'm looking at is not $1.
It's $1.25 or to $2.
Now it's McDonald's time. And like I say, everyone knows about McDonald's. I mean, starting at a young age, they start getting us wrapped into that deal with the young folk and with those Happy Meals, which I'll talk about here momentarily. But because of these prices, think about this, low income consumers making less than $45,000 a year have largely stopped ordering from McDonald's. The fast food giant's CEO, Chris Kempczynski, I think I'm saying his name right, admitted here just last Monday on the earnings call with Wall Street analysts. Now, as we all know, McDonald's, those cheap meals that we always have once could rely on, no matter where you are, those cheap meals has always driven the stock of McDonald's. I don't want to say out the roof, but they've always had large gains. But the Big Mac, the fries, and the drink has now risen, as was just talked about, to $18 at a handful of locations. And there are places where a hash brown is up to $6, Jason, $6. That this is the consumers are fed up with this inflation and things. And I also know when the government's always going to be involved. And the government does drive most everything. Now, this is what I mean. Lots of these prices are being recorded in California and New York. Well, there's now a law in the state of California that anyone working in a fast food chain or restaurant makes a minimum of $20 per hour. $20 per hour is a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You work 40 hours, that's $800 a week. That's $40,000 a year on a normal salary. That is a good quality salary in the United States of America. So if I have to pay the lowest person on the totem pole in my fast food restaurant $40,000 a year, I'm going to have to make that up somewhere. And it always works out. It gets passed on to the consumer. And in this particular case, I mean, that's what the CEO was talking about. And we all know how the price of food and obviously labor has went up over the course of time. And with that, the prices have to go up as well. But even with the price increases, same store sales, all in the McDonald's stock category, their latest quarter, which was the fourth quarter, grew just 3.4%. All right, well, 3.4% is pretty good growth, but Wall Street had projected in the fourth quarter of 2023 that McDonald's would grow 4.7%. Now, see, if they had projected 3%, they went 3.4, people still be buying the stock. They projected 4.7, and the stock drops. So why is it that we put out projections that sometimes are not going to be met? And projections create perception, and perception creates emotions, and we make emotional decisions based on the information. And sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. But eating at home has become more affordable than eating out at what we call lower income McDonald's, etc. type places. Nevertheless, McDonald's, they're getting slammed, and the two words, outrageous pricing, might be a little bit of a stretch, but frankly, I mean, I've known about McDonald's as a little kid, and I would have never thought that a Big Mac Happy Meal, a Big Mac meal would be $18. But, you know, all this being said, and the iconic arches and the iconic McDonald's and the history, let's go back here real quick and how we got to this point with a little bit on the McDonald's story, where Dick and Mac McDonald moved to California, where they were seeking opportunity. They're from New England, and they were going into the movie business, as a lot of people were back in the 30s and 40s, and trying to make something like that take place. They didn't have quite the success that the Walt and Roy Disneys of the world did, and they failed. So in 1948, they took a risk by streamlining their operations and introducing the Speedy Service System, featuring a restaurant based around a 15-cent hamburger. How about that? The McDonald brothers sold 14 franchises, which included 10 becoming operations of their own. And their very first McDonald's, which was called the McDonald's Famous Hamburger, buy 'em by the bag, was located in San Bernardino, California. That's where it all started. Now, Ray Kroc comes along. We all know Ray Kroc actually he was from Chicago, ended up down in San Diego. And like I told you, he was a big part of the San Diego Chicken. He owned the San Diego Padres. But Ray Kroc left high school after his sophomore year. And he went to the war and joined the Red Cross Ambulance Corps, and eventually got out of there. And he visited the McDonald brothers in 1954, which led him to becoming their first franchise agent. In 1955, Kroc opened the first McDonald's east of the Mississippi River. Now, Jason, we were talking off the air. What is the movie that Michael Keaton's the star of?
The Founder.
Founder. Good movie.
Excellent movie.
And it is, anytime you put out a movie, there's going to be things in there that's not actually the facts. That movie seems to be very, very close. So Kroc opened up that first restaurant for the McDonald's System Incorporated. And that's the predecessor of the McDonald's Corp. And then the first place that he opened up a restaurant was in Des Plaines, Illinois, April of 1955. Okay, Kroc then later on acquired the rights to the brothers' company in 1961 for $2.7 million. Now, $2.7 million, a lot of money, especially in 1961. But they walked away from one of the most iconic businesses, things, items that this world has ever seen, for $2.7 million in 1961. Now, Ray Kroc had the vision. The McDonald brothers are often talked about when it's the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, and they always talk about the law of the lid, that you can only go so high based on your knowledge and information, which you hit the lid. And their example of the law of the lid is always the McDonald brothers, unfortunately. But Kroc's vision was to have 1,000 McDonald restaurants solely in the United States. Well, we all know where it is today. And a little bit of a timeline. In 1967 was the first international McDonald's. A couple of them opened up in Canada and Puerto Rico. And then we go all the way to 2016, which was the last country. Now, they're opening up McDonald's in countries where there's already McDonald's. But in 2016, which was the last country to be penetrated, was Kazakhstan. And now today, with over 36,000 restaurants in over 100 nations, they're now being talked about for the $18 Big Mac meal. How about that? The Golden Arches, invented in 1953 when the boys went into business back in 1948. And those Golden Arches started in Donahue, California. Still operates to this day, as does the one in Chicago, which was Ray Kroc's first restaurant. McDonald brothers, the McDonald's that we know of today, started out with barbecue before the 15-cent hamburger. And that didn't last very long, of course, and they shut down. So in 1948, after 3 months of alterations to their business, they reopened with this self-service drive-in restaurant. And the menu was reduced to just 9 items: hamburger, cheeseburger, soft drinks, milk, coffee, potato chips, and a slice of pie, with the staple of the menu being the 15-cent hamburger. 1949, French fries replaced the tater chips, and the triple thick milkshake became a part of the McDonald's menu. And like we already talked about, in 1954, the multi-mixer salesman, Ray Kroc, visited McDonald's in San Bernardino in only intending to sell the brothers more multi-mixers. And the 52-year-old Kroc, now you think about this, and you often think, I have missed my opportunity in life. Ray Kroc comes into McDonald's at 52 years old, selling mixers. I call them the malt shake mixer that I always remember growing up. And of course, he learns from the brothers that they are looking for a nationwide franchising agent. And of course, he recommends himself. And apparently he did a pretty good job, as we know what McDonald's has become today. But I think it's astonishing that Ray Kroc was a door-to-door salesman. And in this movie that Jason just mentioned to us, he was a door-to-door salesman selling what I call malt shake mixers to the homemakers of the world, and decides to have this idea to go to McDonald's and try to talk them into having the milkshake, which they eventually did. And then, of course, in 1955, as we've already talked about, in Des Plaines, Illinois, it was opened. The reason I go back and mention that is because I failed to mention that the first day's sales was $366.12 at that McDonald's in Illinois. 1956, this is interesting. For those of you who know the McDonald's story pretty well, that Fred Turner, who would become the future McDonald's chairman, is hired to work as a counter salesperson at the Des Moines McDonald's. And he would soon become the head of the McDonald's operations, defining the quality, service, and cleanliness that continues to this day in any McDonald's. 1961, Hamburger University opens in the basement of the Elk Grove, Village, Illinois McDonald's restaurant. Now, graduates receive a bachelor's of hamburgerology degrees. You need to get you one of those, Jason. 1965, the Filet-O-Fish sandwich is brought to the menu. And in 68, very, very important word, very important year, my birth year, the Big Mac has brought to the national menu, and developed by franchisee owner operator Jim Delegati of Pittsburgh. 73, the Quarter Pounder and the Quarter Pounder with cheese added to the menu. Very, very interesting year in 1974. And you think about this, and I've also done a lot of research over the Danny Thomas in Memphis, Tennessee, the hospitals, he and his daughter Marlo, and the things that they've tried, or not tried, but done for youth medical needs. And, the Ronald McDonald House, and then this all started with the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, with a child being treated for leukemia and not really having a place where they could go. And that generated the first Ronald McDonald House, which was actually 1974. 75, the Egg McMuffin was created by Herb Peterson of Santa Barbara, California, owner-operator as well. So not only did they get it going, or actually Ray Kroc, the brothers got it going. Ray Kroc took it to another level. He's now got his franchisees inventing things that he then goes and copyrights and puts patents on that belong to McDonald's to this day. Hey, if you can get them to do it for you, why would you want to do it yourself? Now, in this timeline of the information that I have researched, I was very disappointed to find never a mention of a Happy Meal, which to me is the staple of any McDonald's. They get those kids in there at a young age and pound them with the Happy Meal. And how many adults have eaten McDonald's cheeseburgers, Quarter Pounders, Big Macs, nuggets, because little Johnny or little Sally wanted to go to McDonald's to get a Happy Meal? That goes on every day in every community around this world. Guaranteed. 1979, the Happy Meal started out as a circus wagon box. You got stencils, a puzzle, erasers, a few other things. And the Happy Meal included a hamburger, a cheeseburger, French fries, a soft drink, and a cookie for $1.10. In 1979, that was like giving it away. Mm-hmm. 1983, Chicken McNuggets were introduced into all domestic U.S. restaurants. And in 84, Ray Kroc, founder and senior chairman of the board of McDonald's Corporation, dies January the 14th, 1984. 1990, January 31st, 1990, McDonald's restaurant opens in Moscow. More than 30,000 customers were served on opening day in one restaurant in Moscow. If the workers at your local, any restaurant, showed up, looked out there, saw a line down the block, 2 blocks, 50% of those employees would quit. And in Moscow, in 1990, they served 30,000. I don't even know how that's possible. But here it is in writing, so it's got to be true, right?
Got off the internet, right?
Exactly. The world's first McCafe opens in Melbourne, Australia in 1993. McFlurry, once again, invented by an owner-operator out of Canada, Ron McLellan, introduces the McFlurry desserts, which, by the way, started on the Canadian McDonald's menu, not on the U.S. menu. 2003, McDonald's first global ad. I'm loving it. Man, these cliches and how they grab you. I'm loving it. It was launched in Munich, Germany, September the 2nd, 2003. And once again, not in the United States. 2015, in a number of USA restaurants, McDonald's started serving breakfast all day. In 2017, they really took a step out there by allowing Uber Eats to now deliver their food. Opened Global McDelivery Day is celebrated every year on July 26 to support the global launch of McDelivery with Uber Eats. Incredible. In 2020, McDonald's opens its first net zero designed restaurant at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida, which creates enough reusable energy on site to cover 100% of the energy's needs on an annual basis. McDonald's does not have an electricity bill in Orlando, Florida. Another hot place to go. Awful sticky down there too. Nevertheless, as we've been talking here on Money, Motivation, and Mike, we all know McDonald's. We've known it for a long time. We've virtually known it all of our lives. For anyone, well, let's just say 1950, so 70 plus years, 75 and below, as a young child, you knew about McDonald's, especially after the Ray Kroc explosion there in the mid-50s. But now McDonald's, I don't know that I've ever seen any backlash on them. I remember one time they served too hot a coffee. That's a joke. And then they get sued. Something along those lines. But not definitely a nationwide domestic backlash, but a worldwide of not necessarily price gouging, but very steep prices to where the consumer, the customer that's used to buying that Big Mac and that Happy Meal and that quarter pounder with cheese is looking for other options. And one of the biggest options is staying home and not eating out at all. Money, Motivation, and Mike continues to bring you information as we have talked about here today. We have once again been brought to our knees with excitement about how you continue to listen and view our show on a daily basis. So continue to contact us at info@mx3.vip, and of course find all our content at mx3.vip or on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/@mx3podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the icon bell to get notified of all of our content that comes out every Monday morning around 9 o'clock. So for Money, Motivation, and Mike and everyone that's been a part of this show, continue to live your life the right way.